I've noticed something strange about the most creative people I know. They all do this one weird thing with your hands. And no, it's not some mystical hand gesture. It's actually much simpler and way more uncomfortable than you think. Have you ever wondered what Leonardo da Vinci and Nikola Tesla had in common? Here's what nobody talks about. They both refused to let one side of their brain boss the other around. Da Vinci could literally draw with one hand while writing with the other. Tesla, he trained himself to use both hands equally well. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night. This wasn't some gift they were born with. This was deliberate. They restructured their own brains. And the crazy part? You can do it too. You just need to start with something as simple as switching which hand holds your toothbrush. By the time you finish reading this, you'll understand why forcing yourself to be clumsy might actually be the smartest decision you ever make. Let me explain what happens the moment you try this. When you use your non-dominant hand, if you're right-handed, that means your left hand, your brain basically panics. It has to wake up parts of itself that usually just sit there doing nothing. Researchers found that the bridge between your two brain hemispheres, this thick bundle of nerves connecting everything, it increases its activity by 40% after just 2 weeks of using your other hand. Now here's the part that's hard to hear. That feeling of being clumsy, slow, frustrated, like you're suddenly terrible at everything, that's not failure. That's actually your brain growing. It's exactly like working out. The soreness means it's working. That mental friction when you try to write with your left hand, that awkwardness that makes you want to give up, that is literally what growth feels like. Your brain has to work 60% harder compared to when you're just cruising on autopilot. There's this thing they do in Japan that I find fascinating. They teach kids to write with both hands from the start. And you know what happens? These kids end up 25% better at solving complex problems. Not because having two hands is some superpower, but because their brains learned early on that struggle equals growth. So what's actually going on inside your skull when you do this? This is where it gets really interesting. There's this thing called neuroplasticity. It's your brain's ability to rewire itself, to create new connections. And here's why this matters more than you think. When you struggle with your non-dominant hand, your brain starts building something called myelin. It's like insulation for your neural pathways that makes signals travel faster. Imagine upgrading from old phone lines to fiber optic internet. That's what you're doing to your brain by forcing it to struggle. A study showed that using your non-dominant hand actually triggers the birth of brand new neurons, especially in your hippocampus. That's the part of your brain responsible for memory. It's like learning a new language, except it happens faster. Think of it as cross-training but for your mind. Your right hemisphere, the creative one, and your left hemisphere, the logical one, they have to start talking to each other more. Research found this improves something called divergent thinking. That's your ability to come up with multiple solutions to the same problem. This is why people who can use both hands well often excel in completely different fields, like arts and sciences. And here's what makes this even crazier. Scientists discovered that this brain upgrade doesn't just stay in the motor control area. It spreads to the parts responsible for decision-making and abstract thinking. So when you're fumbling with a fork in your left hand, feeling like a toddler learning to eat, you're not just training coordination. You're actually upgrading the circuits that help you navigate complex problems at work, in your relationships, and life. Let me show you something right now. Stop for a second. Try to snap your fingers with your non-dominant hand. Go ahead, actually do it. Awkward, right? Maybe you can't even do it properly. That awkwardness you're feeling isn't just physical clumsiness. That's your brain literally hitting a wall and being forced to climb over it in real time. That struggle isn't the problem. That struggle is the entire point. Here's why this struggle creates something extraordinary. Researchers discovered that using your non-dominant hand forces your brain to re-examine patterns it already knows by heart. The result? You get better at spotting new patterns in situations you've never seen before. Your brain stops taking shortcuts and starts actually paying attention. This is where creative problem solving gets a massive upgrade.
When you do something familiar with your non-dominant hand, your brain has to completely rethink how to do it. This is how Picasso and Michelangelo trained their spatial intelligence. They didn't just paint, they forced their brains to see the world differently. Benjamin Franklin actually practiced writing with his non-dominant hand on purpose because he understood it balanced his thinking. He didn't sit around waiting for inspiration, he forced his brain to adapt. And here's something that even surprised the scientists. One study found that writing with your non-dominant hand improves your working memory by 18%. Why? Because your brain has to stay conscious of every single tiny movement. That creates what they call deeper encoding. Everything sticks better. Einstein said something that stuck with me. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. And that's exactly what this practice builds. Forcing your brain into discomfort forces your imagination to grow. Think about it. When was the last time you felt genuinely challenged by something as simple as picking up a cup of coffee? That novelty, that struggle, that's what keeps your brain young and sharp. So how do you actually do this without going insane? First rule, start embarrassingly small. Don't try to write a full page with your left hand on day one. That's not training. That's just setting yourself up to quit. Start with what I call the awkward morning routine. Brush your teeth with your other hand. Open doors with it. Hold your phone with it. These seem pointless, but they are not. Your brain is processing completely new motor patterns. There's this rule, 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That's enough to trigger real change without the kind of frustration that makes you give up. Remember, you're not trying to become ambidextrous overnight. You're trying to force your brain out of the comfortable patterns it's been running on for years. Genius isn't about being born special. It's about knowing how to force your brain to grow. So here's your challenge starting today. Brush your teeth with your non-dominant hand tonight. Feel that awkwardness. Embrace it. That comfortable feeling. That's the sound of your neurons struggling to connect in new ways. That's growth happening in real time. In 30 days, your brain will be measurably different. Not because your left hand got better at things, but because you taught your brain how to learn again. If you like this video, please subscribe to this YouTube channel to get more value-packed content.